There it is. Hello, everyone. Ooh, that's annoying. All right. Let's see if I can find the chat. Okay, perfect. Hi, Deanna. Deanna, good gravy. Diana, sorry. Why? How come it's not letting me see this? Let me see. I'm going to go back in one more time. I'm sorry. So I can see if I can find myself live. There I am. Okay, sorry, I couldn't see the comments, and I wanted to make sure I could see the comments. So hello, Diana. Hi, Rhonda. Nice to see you all today. I was actually making, I knew as soon as I got on here, the phone would ring. It's my dad. I'll call him back later. So I was making a whole bunch of cards today, and I was thinking of some cards that I haven't made in quite a while. So I thought I will pop on here and show you how to make 4 cards really quickly and easily. And the reason I say quick and easy is sometimes you just need a fast card. Now, parts of this card might not be fast because I did want to do for one of them a little bit of heat embossing because I thought that would be kind of fun. But basically what I'm going to do today, I'm sure this is not new to anyone, but we will be using a full sheet of cardstock. And we're going to make some, oh, now he's calling me here. No, I'll call you back, Dad, still. And now we're going to cut this in diagonally. So we're going to score it 2 different ways. We're going to cut it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 cards that are going to kind of open in a fun fold way. And this idea I got because I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This paper pack, which this is part of the sample pack. So we were able to purchase this as demonstrators. And if you would like to become a demonstrator, you will get this free. So it's a 6x6 DSP sampler. You get a mini trimmer, which I have, I guess, put away. I don't know where it is. A mini trimmer. You get to choose $125 worth of stuff for $99. So it's a pretty awesome deal. But you get all this paper, and it's all 6x6. And they give you kind of a little bit of everything, minus maybe the Valentine's paper. But this suite, which, let me just pop this out real quick because I know it's right here. Whew, how do you like that? I haven't had the page open. That's a miracle in itself. This is called the Best Dress Suite, which is adorable. However, the shopping portions of it probably aren't my favorite thing, but that's just me because I don't know. I don't like high heels because they make my feet uncomfortable. And I think when I saw this, I was I love the flower patterns, are absolutely gorgeous. But a couple of these, I kind of thought, what would I do with that? But then I thought if we paired it with the Thanks for the Laughs, this is pretty hilarious. Because my best friend and I went shopping all the time in our 20s, a little bit into our 30s even, and we were constantly buying stuff, specifically at American Eagle. And we used to take her niece with us and we would go shopping. And sometimes we would have so much clothes, we would put them in the stroller and carry the niece. So I thought this was hilarious, just specifically for this paper with purses and perfume. And also you could use the high heels because that's pretty funny as well. But we've been friends for so long, I can't remember which one of us is the bad influence. So I thought we could pair this with this card right here. And then we can make a couple other things. And then we're going to make one in a different pattern. Now, if you are going to do this type of a card, so I picked out a couple other patterns because you want to pick something that's really not directional, because then you can kind of end up with some images upside down. So since the purses go in all different directions, this is a great one to use. Flowers aren't really necessarily directional because you could turn this any way and it would kind of look like it was in the right direction. We also have these cute little starbursts that are on the back of the balloon paper. So the balloon paper, for example, would be a little bit hard because some of the balloons are going to be upside down. But the other side is great because, again, it's non-directional. And then the same with this. So we have these absolutely beautiful birds of paradise and the palm leaves. And if you switch these around anyway, it doesn't really look necessarily like it's upside down. Hey, Melanie. So what I thought we would do is we're going to make one already with the bag paper. So I already trimmed this down. So we're going to put this one together. I'm going to show you how to cut it. We'll put the second one together and we'll kind of figure out a different paper for the second one. And then I'm going to show you how to cut it to do the first one. So basically this paper, I cut this down. So it would be 4 by 5 1/4. This again is one full sheet of cardstock, Okay, so you're going to just pick out whatever cardstock you like. I haven't used Blackberry Bliss in a while, so I thought it'd be really pretty to use. So what you're going to do is you're going to score it at 4 1/4, you're going to score it at 5 1/2, and then you're going to cut it on the diagonal, and it will give you 2 card bases. And this is, where's my bone folder? This is kind of a fun fold card. So it opens a little bit differently. One thing about this card is you really want to make sure that you cut on a diagonal to get it to line up correctly. However, if anything overlaps, you can always trim just a hair off if you needed to with your trimmer again. So it is pretty simple. So for this card, one thing you do need to be careful with, and I will show you this when we cut this down, is you want to make sure that you look at your cardstock prior to cutting it, so you make sure that it is going correctly. So if I would have cut this way on the other side, the other diagonal, it wouldn't go on here because obviously it wouldn't fit correctly. So best when you use this, and I'm going to, hopefully one of these glues has a little bit of glue left in it, but I'm going to, yep, there's some glue. I'm going to use liquid glue. That way I do have this cut so it is pretty tight to the end. So that way when I layer it, if I need to move it around a little bit, you can. So it kind of gives you that little bit of wiggle room. So I have a nice, probably just 1/8 of an inch border all the way around with this. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. And as you can see, if you put these together, this would line up. But we're going to have a little bit of a gap right there, and it gives you that little bit of wiggle room so you can move it around if you need to, so you can see. Now this one, obviously you're going to need to add a white panel on the inside, but otherwise really easy card. Pretty much all you have to do is add a white panel to the inside and add a sentiment. So there's one. And what I'm going to do is I am going to use this second piece of cardstock since I already cut it. So I'm going to just fold this down. Now as you can see, this one, you could have it so it opens the other way if you wanted to, for maybe one of your left-handed friends, because they probably don't get very many left-handed cards. Or if you want to do this the same way, you're going to flip it over this way. Now, your little lines will show up a little bit differently. So if you do that, you probably could just go ahead and smooth out the edge with your bone folder. Because sometimes when you trim, you get that little kind of wonky piece there. So I'm going to make sure this is nice and square. Same here. And I'm just going to press this. Okay. So once again, you're going to have to cut this on the diagonal this way. Okay. Let me see. That's just a little lip there. Okay. So you're going to cut this on the diagonal this direction. So let me see. This is a little bit darker than probably what I would have picked. That is a little too off shade of purple, but we could use this piece. This kind of blend in nicely. So we're going to use this one. This is one of the celebration papers you can earn free. It's called Lily Impressions. So what I'm going to do, I have too many things back here, is I'm going to go ahead and trim this so it measures 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. And then this is where I was saying you need to make sure that you check which side you want to cut. So you're going to lay this on top of your card, which that is really beautiful with that Blackberry Bliss. And you're going to remember you need to cut from the top right to the bottom left. Because again, if you were to cut it this way, it's not going to match up with your paper. You certainly could flip it, but once you've scored it, you kind of want to leave it where it is. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the corner into my cutting slot. And the same thing in the bottom here. So I'm lining this up, making sure that they are point to point. So 1 point in each part of that tray. And then I'm going to take my cutting blade and I'm going to put it in the middle of the paper, because I find that cuts really beautifully. But if you start at the top, sometimes if the paper is really delicate, it'll actually bunch it. And I have always done it this way because a couple times I did bunch up the paper. So I don't know if the new trimmer would be different, but I'd rather err on the side of caution. So then all you're going to do for this one, same thing again. And you can either put this onto your paper or you can put it onto the base card. Just going to take your liquid glue. Whoop. Look, this one's probably at the very end. That's why I got such a good goosh at the beginning. I did order some new glue. Yeah, it's like I'm dead. All right, that one's done. And I do have one up here. Okay. So just put some glue down, just like so. And then once again, you're just going to slide your paper on. The nice part about the liquid glue is it does give you a little bit of maneuverability. And if you wanted to, you could trim this down just a little bit smaller. So you could trim it to 3 3/4 by 5. That way you'd have a bigger edge, or you could also even layer another piece of paper underneath. So very simple. And then again, obviously you're going to have to add a white, or you could write in white pen, but I think that's a little much. But add a little white panel to the inside there. And then we will decorate these 2 cards. So we're going to stamp something and add to the front of these. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you. And I think I'm going to go with, I think I'm going to do one of each of these. And we're going to pick a color that will complement both of them for the base. So I'm thinking maybe Calypso Coral, or actually Terracotta Tile might look really nice on there. So let me grab that. And Terracotta Tile is one of the newer ink colors. We'll be getting new ink colors again in May to June. But you're going to grab one whole sheet. Yes, so this is going to be 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to show you how to do the base now. So don't worry, you didn't miss anything. So you have one full sheet of 8.5 by 11. So you will begin, again, you want to make sure you have your scoring blade. You're going to score it at 4 1/4. I don't know why I feel the need to do it that so many times, but kind of like Jack Nicholson in As Good as It Gets when he had to lock the door 57 times. And then you're going to score it again at 5 1/2. Okay, so it kind of looks like we forgot to cut it and we cut it into 4 pieces, but it's perfectly the way it's supposed to be. Now this part is just a little bit tricky because of the trimmer. So I actually originally got out my guillotine trimmer and I was going to cut it that way, but that's not big enough either. So you do have to do a little teeny bit of improv here. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up the corner again in the tray. So let me show you what I mean. So you're going to line up the corner here in the top of the tray, and then you're going to line up the other corner in the bottom of the tray. Okay, so this one with the cutting, it's not as specific, but you just want to make sure that it's lined up correctly because you're still going to need to snip just a teeny bit with your scissors. And actually, I'm going to do one other thing. So we scored it this way. I'm going to cut it on the other side to hopefully cut down on some of those ridges. And then one other thing, you can cut from the other direction. It doesn't matter which direction you cut as long as you're corner to corner. And then when you line up your paper, just make sure you look at it before you cut. All right, so I have them in the corner. So now I'm going to close this and cut all the way through. But because we have the scoring blade up here and the cutting blade at the bottom, it's never going to cut completely through to the end. So you're going to have a teeny little bit that you're going to need to snip. But really no big deal. So that one came apart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm going to just very carefully cut from the corner just to connect that. So just that simple. Okay. So now you have 2 pieces that look the same, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to pick our paper, but I want to look at this first. So when we did these, again, we had our folds that came down. I originally scored these the other way, so I've kind of flipped them backwards, but you can have them so they open either direction. So they can open this way here, that way it'll open that way. So these 2 are kind of more for lefties, or you can have them open to the right. Okay, so all you're going to do is just fold your paper down, take your bone folder, make sure you reinforce your crease because these are going to want to pop up because they really weren't scored. And we're going to do the same thing again. So we're just going to fold both of our bases, just fold both things in and then reinforce them with your bone folder. Okay, so then we have 2 pieces. So now these, as you can see, are opposite, okay? So these open, we had our cut from the top right to the bottom left, but these cards are going to be different. So we want to make sure that we look at these before we cut them, okay? So I'm going to trim both of these down. And I'm going to just do the same thing again, both of them down to 4 by 5 1/4. This one specifically has absolutely no directional pattern, so it doesn't make a difference. If you were trying to maybe save the background of this, you might want to cut it specifically. So if you were trying to save a part of the balloon, but you could use this as a little 2-inch strip if you wanted to. So can you also flip? You can flip them any way. Yes, Diana, that's the beauty of this. It doesn't have to go any, you can make them go any direction you want with the flips. So if you didn't want them to be this way, you just turn them around and flip them this way and rescore them, and they will be perfectly good. Either direction does not make a difference. Okay, so same thing again. So this one is going to cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. And then once again, so we're going to put this on top here. So we want to make sure we cut from the top left this time to the bottom right. Okay, so I'm going to put my corners again in the track. Make sure they're lined up nicely. I'm moving my cutting blade, so it's going to kind of, it doesn't really have to be in the middle, but at least so it's not at one end or the other. So there's one. And then same thing again, I always like to go back and check. So top left. So we're going to put that left up in the track, and then the bottom right corner in the other track. Kind of push this a little bit more to the middle and cut. Just as simple as that. So all we have to do now, put those on, and then we'll stamp a couple sentiment things and get them all finished up. So these will be, actually, these are a really fast way to make a card that does have a lot of look to it with really not a lot of effort. Because you figure you just made 4 cards out of 2 whole sheets of cardstock and 4 pieces of DSP. And granted, these were just cut to 6 by 6. So you don't really, if you had full 12 by 12 sheets of DSP, it would be even less. Because you could just trim a couple pieces off. You really would just use a partial sheet. So it's a good way to get a lot of cards done, and also looks really fancy just because of the fun fold that you have, even though you really didn't do anything terrifically fancy. So there's one, and those colors do look really nice together. I think the terracotta really makes the greens pop. So same thing again with this. And again, I would say personally, I really like using the liquid glue only because it gives you the maneuverability to be able to adjust stuff. And I do think that liquid glue is really great at holding on to things for the long term. Much better than snail, in my opinion, because I've found that when I've gone back to look at some cards, things that I glued down with snail, they are kind of starting to peel up a little bit, but the liquid glue things have a nice layer. So there, this could be a really simple birthday card, really, really easy. So there's that. So there's 2. So for the one, what do I have here? For the one I wanted to do, we've been friends for so long, I can't remember which is the bad influence. So I'm going to grab a big stamp for this one. Fit on there. All right, so that is going to be, I'm just going to pull all the sentiments out, that way I have them ready. Move that over just a little. There's that one. This one, we have another really nice one too. I mean, you could even make a gorgeous Mother's Day. We'll do one for Mother's Day. I know it's a little early, but some people like to really plan ahead. So let's just do one. We'll make this one be a really simple card you could do for Mother's Day. And then this one will be great. Birthday, the world is yours, you make me happy, really anything. Has a lot of nice extra images in it as well. The Timeless Tulips has a lot of really pretty sentiments, but I also really like the script. This would be a great get well soon. So we'll make this one in just to a very general get well soon. And what was this one? Oh, I am making a card with, I thought this would be funny, so I'll share it with you. I can't share the card with you yet because I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it, but we really do have the perfect friendship. But I have this one with the golf paper. I thought that was really, really funny. And let's see. How did I get so lucky to have a friend like you? I think that would be really pretty. So we could totally go with the tropical, but I'm going to do this one because I think it's a really nice, really nice sentiment. Okay, so we have our 4 sentiments here. So let me move this over. And let me just get this paper out of the way just a little bit so I don't goof this up. So my thought was, and I'm going to do one at a time. I'll try to make this slightly quick though, I promise. I'm going to do this one first. I am going to crank up my heat gun because I thought this one would be really cool if we embossed it in something shiny. So not only do we have 8 million purses, but we have a really shiny sentiment on here as well. So let's see if this one's going to fit. That one might be a little close because I figured we could kind of do a punch. Could also absolutely do a die cut too, but we might have to do a die cut. We might do a nice oval die cut, and maybe we'll do 2. So I'm going to leave these here. So what I'm going to do, grab my Versamark, grab my embossing buddy. I'm just going to go over this. And I'm going to grab how gold would look, but I think I really like silver, so I'm going to do silver for this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up my stamp with Versamark, and I'm going to try to go for the center because I don't know exactly how big this is going to need to be. Oops, forgot my trusty coffee filter. So I'm going to go ahead and dump the silver embossing powder on here. Okay, that looks pretty nice. And I think the fact that it has such a nice script when it's going to emboss with the silver is going to look really pretty. All right. And I promise I'll just do one embossing. That way it's not going to be loud the whole time. So I have had my heat tool heating up, which makes the embossing powder melt much faster. Cuts down on the wrinkling of your cardstock as well. So you can see once it's set, it becomes super duper shiny. And prior to that, it's dull. So there's going to be one. I'm going to grab... Just for the effect of making it a little bit more shiny, we'll use some silver foil and we'll add those two things together. So I have my big shot, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the ovals because I think it's going to work best with the ovals. So I will do the sentiment in a regular oval, and then the other one, depending on if I can get that'll be good. And then we'll do a scalloped for the silver. So I'm going to just cut both of these. Now, when you're cutting something that you're not quite sure about the size, even though you're using a magnetic plate, sometimes I will still just use a little piece of like a Post-it note or purple tape or something just to kind of hold it in place. This one I'm going to just run through. I kind of try to run this as close to the edge as I can. That way I get as much out of my paper as possible. So here's that. And there's that. And again, for the rest of these, I'll try to make them a little bit simpler. So now I'm going to just put some liquid glue here, as I find that that helps it stick to foil a little bit better. Put this on top, just like so. Make sure it's lined up. Also, the nice thing about the liquid glue is it helps you to be able to make sure everything is kind of centered the way you want it. And then we'll put this right here. Now, what I will say is, I personally would hook it to the top one, but you could hook it to whichever one you want. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some liquid glue kind of more on the, just to the left of the oval, like that. Okay, I move that over a little bit, but that's okay. And just give it a second to press. Make sure that you have it adhered on there. And then that's it. Perfect. Easy peasy. You said it's rainy in Oregon. You could watch me all day. You are so kind. I wish you were here because then I could talk to somebody instead of talking to myself. But there's one simple one. Again, we'll do this one for Mother's Day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of try to pick a color I think is in here. I feel like there is possibly a little bit of shaded, not shaded spruce. I was going to say, maybe garden green. You probably could get away with mossy meadow, but we don't want to do anything too crazy looking. We probably could go with some flirty flamingo. Yeah, we'll do this flirty flamingo. Again, this one was the one we were going to make Mother's Day. So let me see, where did I do with my paper? We'll make this with the pretty label punch. Now I do have a pad underneath of here, but with photopolymer, remember, if you don't have a pad, you need to stamp onto something because it doesn't have the foam like the rubber stamps do, okay? So I'm going to stamp Happy Mother's Day. And this doesn't have to be for your mother. This could be for your other mother, the lady that you feel like is your mother if you don't have a mother. Unfortunately, my mother has passed on, so I have a lot of friends that I feel kind of like are my surrogate mothers. So I'm going to just put this into the pretty label punch like that. Go ahead and punch that out. And I'm going to add a little something because I think if you do it just like that, you're kind of like, it's cute, but it's not the absolute best. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a piece of, I feel like Bermuda Bay might look nice on here because there is a little teeny bit of that in there. And I don't know, this might actually end up working out. Let me see what this looks like. Quite a long time ago, I embossed some of this. This might be kind of pretty. A long time ago, I embossed this with the, I feel like it's the Country Floral. I don't know why I didn't end up using it, but I'm going to punch out with the pretty label punch and use this way it doesn't just sit in there. And then we can kind of layer this behind. And you could kind of do one of the half and half if you wanted to. We're going to cut this in half. Just going to grab my scissors and aim for the best of trying to get halfway. Like that. And I'm going to grab my silicone mat. I'm going to put, so one of each half is going to go, oops, that's the wrong side. One of each half is going to go behind this is kind of what I'm getting at. So I'm going to put a little bit of Fast Fuse. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball lining this up. So there's one like that. And then this is the second part. So I'm kind of just going to, just so it's like a little, almost looks like a little extra cloud. Really cute. You could have also, before we added that on, you could have lined the edge of the white with another, with your marker. So trace around it. That always looks really cute. You could sponge this lightly if you wanted to, give it a little bit of something else. And then we're going to see, to put this on here, I probably should have gone with a little thing more solid only because we have this little split in the back, but that's okay. I think our mothers or surrogate mothers won't mind so much. So we're going to put this here. And I'm going to just put adhesive. I'm going to go with liquid glue again, though. That way, if I want to move it a little bit, I can. So I'm kind of just trying to stick with just with one side. And you can wiggle it around a little bit if you want to kind of ground it in place. So there's that. Just make sure you don't have any glue peeking. Doesn't look the prettiest. But the other thing you could do if you wanted to cover it up, is, let's see if I can find another little scrap piece here. You could take another one. Look, I just have another one that I didn't use either. And we'll go ahead and see if we can get this to line up correctly. Just for a little bit of pretty appearance. I never would have thought to do this, but since it's showing. Now it isn't going to be exact, remember, because we did put this around as an extra. A little bit, I got a little crazy with my glue there, but it will still kind of cover up that line. That way they won't see the line. Gives it a little bit more of a solid feel to it as well. So, and then once again, make sure you add your white panel. You can add anything else in there. So there's that. And let's see what else we have. We have the one about friendship, and we have the get well soon. I'm going to do the get well soon with the tailored tag punch just for the heck of it, since I have it here. And let's see, is there anything else? Any of these other ones? With Get Well Soon, even though this has a lot of like a confetti look, I'm just going to put a couple little teeny flowers in. This is the Perfectly Framed stamp set, and this coordinates with the Ornate Frames, which is from the Halloween in the catalog that just ended. So this I bought specifically because I loved that die set. As a matter of fact, here it is. I loved that so much that I thought, oh, I hope they come out with something else, because that would be really cool. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with something different. So I'm going to stamp the ink for this sentiment in Pretty Peacock, which is definitely probably not the color you would have thought of, but that's what we're going to do. So we'll do Get Well Soon. Hopefully I have enough paper here that it's going to fit. Let's see. Well, let's see. Oh, that worked out well. How you like that? All right, so Get Well Soon. And I'm going to show you what I was talking about earlier. I should have done this ahead of time, but I kind of forgot. So when you have something that's plain and white like this, and you're kind of like, you feel like it needs something, we will stamp a little bit of something on here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my terracotta tile marker, because this is the same color of everything else, and I'm going to just trace the edge with the brush tip. So kind of, even though you didn't really do a whole lot to it, it kind of gives it, instead of just being like a big white blob, it kind of grounds it a little bit, I think. So often if I have something and I'm not really sure, I was like, well, it looks cute, but it's not my favorite. Sometimes I'll just trace around the edge of it, and I think it kind of gives a little something. And one other thing I said I was going to do, I want to add just a couple light flowers. And I'm going to actually continue to use the Pretty Peacock, but I'm going to stamp it off a little bit first. And I did, here it is. Let's see, I knew I had a piece of scratch paper here somewhere. So I'm going to grab just this little leaf. Trying to find a small block. And I haven't used this one before. I'm just going to ink it up, and I'm going to stamp it off. I just want to see. So really, 2, 3, and 4 don't look bad. So I'm going to put this over here. Once again, I'm just going to ink it up, stamp it off 1, stamp. That was number 2. Here's number 3. We'll just put a little something extra in there for number 4. You could also do the same thing if you wanted to add a little bit more of that terracotta tile. This is just a teeny little dot image. So I'll just do that. You could do it with your marker, but since I have my ink pad handy, I'll just grab it. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm not going to stamp it in full strength because it is a very dark ink. There you go. So that's good enough. I don't want to do too much because sometimes I feel like I keep adding things and then it kind of starts to look like overkill. Okay. Move this over. Where is my card? Here it is. Bring this back. And then with this one, just going to keep it simple. I'm not going to add anything else to it. And I'm going to put the glue on the top, this side. You could do it on either side. Remember, probably just because I'm right-handed is why I guess I picked those sides to open. So really simple. And kind of a fun trick too for the person who's sick, because they're going to see the lines going this way, this thing goes that way, and they go, how do I open this card? And then they'll think, oh, I'm losing it. No, I just need to feel better. Once again, you can always add, this looks just a teeny bit crooked. I'm going to straighten that up just a little. You can always add your little white layer inside there so you can write something nice on it. So there, that one's pretty easy as well. Here's always told, when you want to add one more thing, stop. That is very good advice, Melanie, and I'm trying to take it because I don't always do that. That's probably one of my worst habits, is that I just keep going and going, and I just needed to stop like 5 things ago. Okay, so for the last one, we're going to do, how did I get so lucky to have a friend like you? So I did the first one with the die cut. The second 2 I did with punches. I don't really have any other super great punches handy, so I think I'm going to do this with a circle die cut, just for the heck of it. So what I'm going to do, remember that card? I've been using pieces of it to make everything else with it. Isn't that hilarious? So with your Bird of Paradise, you do have a teeny bit of blue you could pull in here, but I think I'm going to do Mossy Meadow. Hopefully it'll look nice. And then I'm going to add another layer. So we'll see. We'll see what this looks like. All right, so I'm just stamping this here. That looks pretty good. I'm going to have to add something else in the background, but I'm just not 100% sure what yet. Now for this one, I'm hoping I brought it over. Just give me 1 second here. I'm going to reorganize a little bit so I can see if I did or didn't grab my stitch shapes. I usually do, and sometimes, oh, here they are. Okay. So I have my stitch shapes. I really like these a lot. If you don't own these are probably the most used dies that I have, and I probably use the circles and the ovals more than the squares, but let's see if this is going to fit in here. That's a little tight. If you're ever, one other thing I was looking at last night, if you're ever not sure if something is going to fit, so if you're kind of like, well, it might fit in, flip it over when you're lining it up and look at it, because you can see your stitch line better. So this is definitely not going to fit. So I'm going to have to go with a bigger circle. So if you can see your stitch line just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. And I'm going to grab, oh, that little teeny, boy, I have used that piece of purple tape to death. I'm going to grab a little piece of that, and I'm just going to tape this. See if I can get it to stay. Tape that. I don't have a stitched circle that's bigger, so I might have to go back to a regular circle for the rest of this. Let me just pop this one through real quick. Because we do have those little tropical elements that come in this suite as well. And maybe just by adding the stitching, it could be enough that we don't need to add something else. We could add the stitching and then maybe just the tropical elements. So let's take a peek. That looks super cute. And let me grab those. So these are adorable. These are the Tropical Oasis trinkets. So you have the little palm. You could use either side of that, but the little palms, little guitar, pineapple, and a hibiscus. So I think we're going to just dress it up with one of those and call it a day. So let me see. One other thing I am going to do, just once again, because I can't leave well enough alone, I am going to outline this. I'm going to do it with Seaside Spray. I know it's a little bit lighter than that blue, but I still think it'll just kind of give it a little pop. So I'm just kind of going around the edge with my marker tip. Just like that. Okay, and where's that go? And then now the hardest part is going to be to decide what do we want to add here. Could add a little guitar. We could add the, I don't want to do the palm. I think I'm going to do, the pineapple is really cute. All right, so, oh, look at that. That's a lot of trinkets for one card. You better really love this friend if you're going to give them 3. So I'm going to let you guys decide which one do you think you like the best. I love the guitar and the pineapple, but we're going to see what you all think, and then we'll add one on there and wrap up this card. Super adorable. I hope you guys like this video. I really do appreciate you stopping by today. I'm sure you had plenty of other things to do, but I thank you for just hanging in here with me when we decided to make this video on the fly. Again, these cards wouldn't be this long. Remember, we kind of made them up as we went along. So if you're going to make these at home and thinking, these don't seem that fast, now that you have the idea and you know how to do it, it will be super fast. So, ukulele and the pineapple. I got pineapple, pineapple. Oh, You guys are going to make me do it. I think I'm going to have to. That's really cute. So, absolutely adorable. You know what? Maybe I will save this for my best friend for her birthday, because she would definitely appreciate a ukulele and a pineapple. There we go. So I'm going to put these down here. This will make an absolutely gorgeous birthday card. So I have that down. Let's make sure I didn't glue too far. And then we're going to put this and this. We could put these on. Did I put them away? I did, with glue dots. I am a fan of using more than one glue dot because I can't seem to get things to stick. So I'm going to put, whoopsie, one on the bottom, one on the top. And I'm going to tell you one other thing. I'm actually going to put a teeny bit of liquid glue on there as well, just to ensure that it stays where I want it. And I'm going to wrap one of these glue dots, kind of roll it up. That way I can put it behind the neck of the ukulele, just like so. There we go. And where's my glue? I'm just going to put just a teeny bit of glue, not a lot. Just as my grandfather would call it when we used to play cards. He used to always keep his points because he said he used them for insurance. So I got a little bit of insurance glue here. I'm going to attempt to pick this up and not drop it so I don't have glue drops everywhere. So we got our pineapple. Nice thing about the liquid glue being on there as well is if you don't exactly like where you put it with the glue dot, it kind of gives you a moment to be able to readjust it. So there you go. Absolutely adorable. I think that is my favorite card, and I made some really good cards today before I started with you guys because I'm trying to get myself ahead of schedule, but I think that is so cute. This one's nice and simple. This one would be great for any mother or a great friend. And then you always have, once again, your shopping buddy, whoever you went shopping with, whoever that may be. Everybody has a shopping buddy. So these are so cute. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Really simple. So we used 2 full sheets of cardstock, one in Blackberry Bliss, one in Terracotta Tile, and then we used 4 sheets of DSP. Again, the DSP I cut down from 6 by 6 to 4 by 5 1/4, and then we just make sure that we trimmed it correctly when we did it. We have 2 left-handed cards, 2 right-handed cards, but you could swap them around and do them any way that you like. Thank you guys very much for joining me today. If you love this video, when the video ends, please give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. If you feel like going back and watching again, you can add in another comment. I would love to see it. Thank you guys so very much. And if you're new to my channel, why not hit the subscribe button? Make sure you turn on the little bell that alerts you when I go live or when I do a new video or post a video. So I'm going to go back really quickly before we turn off here, because when you do YouTube lives, the comments disappear. So I'm just going to make sure I didn't miss anything. Hello, Kay from Riverton. Nice to see you. Been a while, Kay. Hopefully you're doing well, and Happy New Year to anyone who is here that I haven't talked to yet. Ringy Dingy from Ohio. Hey, Kathy. Hi, Tina. Thank you guys for joining in. Hopefully, Kathy, you caught the replay when we went back there. This is a very great fold. It's really simple. Simple and easy to do. Okie dokie, love the fold. Your sis is a lefty and one is a righty. There you go. One sheet does all. There, you know what? I aim to please. Hi, Stacy. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Okay, one to dino dies. Yes, absolutely, Marlene. That would look great with the dino dies. And you know what? Whether you're late or not, Denise, that's okay. I'm glad you came to join us. Thank you. Chopped liver. You're not chopped liver. You know I love you, Melanie. Thanks, Tony. I'm glad you stopped in. And the purple tape is, believe it or not, is called purple tape. I know that sounds crazy. I don't even know who makes it. I got mine on Simon Says Stamp, but a couple people were telling me you can buy it on Amazon. But if you Google purple craft tape, it should come up one way or the other. Frog tape is another nice one as well. But I have found a couple times, Melanie, I don't know if this has happened to you, when I've run the frog tape through the die cutting machine, it still is sticking to the paper a little too much. So that's kind of why I stopped using it. And let's see. Hi, Donna. How are you doing? Look, no mint. Except there's mint on this, but you know, I didn't pick any mint on purpose. Oh my my goodness, you guys are crazy. Your bestie's birthday is tomorrow. You can make her a beautiful card, Diana. I'm sure she'll be so happy. Happy birthday to the bestie. All right, so I will make sure that all of the measurements for this go to the blog because I usually will post that. My blog, in case you're new again, is rachthestamper.com. You can find lots of ideas. I always have my shopping specials, joining specials, all that kind of stuff. I went out of my comfort zone with no mint. I know, right? Mint is my crutch, right? And mint is Donna's kryptonite. So remember that, everybody, when we send her a birthday card. But you can find me on Rach the Stamper. On YouTube, I kind of just randomly come on when I'm live. I don't really have a schedule. But you can also find me on Wednesdays at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook. And my Facebook is Rach the Stamper. Have all the links will be posted below later today. I'll have all the shopping links in case you guys would like to buy any of this stuff. And if you do, shop with this host code. Oh, it's too high up there. We can't even see it, Rach. What are we doing here? Shop with this host code. I truly appreciate your support. I do rely on you all to support me. So if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Send me your email or send me your mailing address via my email, which is rachthestamper@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to send you out a complimentary catalog. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and if I don't see you tomorrow on Tuesday, I will definitely see you Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you guys have a great day, and thank you so very much for taking time to tune in, comment, and say hello. Take care.